I don't know what this generation is all about. They're fragile. They're hothouse plants. What about misinformed? They were raised wrong. They were misinformed. What about, yes, some of it is not their sense, of course. What about having a sense of history? Right. No, absolutely. You're so right. They do not know anything.
He actually doesn't like the fact that young people are more informed and can cut through the BS on the propaganda that tends to favor, regardless of what its government.
Billy D. Williams' recent appearance on Bill Maher's podcast Club Random has yielded nothing short of remarkable outcomes, considering their similar ideologies. Tank Ugori and Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks launched an unexpected and vicious attack on Marmara. Kasparian has close ties to the awakened left and has long been linked to progressive orthodoxy. Even when the mayor has taken a progressive stance away from some far-left principles, they seem to be trapped in this frame of mind, repeating familiar themes without challenge or resistance. Suddenly, though, he is being betrayed by his former allies. Anna Kasparian's own shifting views have led her to rethink many of the beliefs she once defended. Messier was called conservative and out of touch by Kasparian and Huber for his recent remarks about kids at a random event at his club. Ugor appears to be adopting a similar position, most likely as a result of her shift in beliefs. As ideological divides continue to blur, former allies are now at odds, pointing to an intriguing shift in the progressive field. Kasparian presents herself as a critic of the radical left while retaining her progressive identity.
We're talking about this generation? I don't know what this generation is all about. They're fragile. They're hothouse plants. They were misinformed. They were raised wrong. They were misinformed. What about that? Yes, some of it is not their fault, of course. What about having a sense of history? Right. No, absolutely. You're so right. They do not know anything.
I mean, what would older men who seem to have all the privilege in the world be if they weren't crapping on young people in America? Right? So Bill Maher was recently having a discussion with actor Billy D. Williams on his podcast. If you're unfamiliar with Williams, he's a Star Wars actor. And Maher decided to call young people houseplants. Hey, don't laugh at me, okay? I totally knew that, and I didn't have to look it up or be informed about Williams and what he started.
No, she didn't.
No, totally new. Yeah. Anyway,
The Lando collision in the original Star Wars trilogy. Despite her attempts to disassociate herself from the far left, it is startling that Anna Kasparian does not acknowledge Billy D. Williams's importance in popular culture. Williams is a cinematic behemoth whose legacy continues, even though many people don't recall the most recent Star Wars movies. He was one of the most recognizable characters in movie history because of his coolness and charisma.
About what seemed like increasingly strained relationships between Black and Jewish Americans, and that led to a discussion about how young people are supposedly misinformed, but pay close attention to the examples he uses to make his argument. Take a look.
They do not know anything, but it's not their fault because, it's not the responsibility of the child to instruct themselves. I never had to worry about that. Kids today know nothing. They know you don't have to know anything, and they will sign that diploma and kick you out the door if you even finish it. It's criminal. Yes, they don't know anything, but it doesn't sap their confidence in still opining on everything as if they did know something, like about Gaza.
The majority of people, particularly the younger generation, can't articulate why they feel the way they do about complicated geopolitical matters like the Middle East. Instead, adolescents usually look up to their parents or prominent media personalities for guidance. To evaluate if Maher's argument is more nuanced than merely his unpleasant tone, it might be worth listening to him. We've all seen the get off my lawn type before, even though he could come out as grouchy. Maybe Mao's assuming that sullen old man persona is an attempt to convey that message. Omar.
doesn't like the fact that young people are more critical of Israel than older people. Young people haven't bought into some of the brainwashing that makes Israel appear to be innocent 100% of the time and Palestinians guilty 100% of the time. And so, yeah, I would actually venture to say that on that particular issue, he actually doesn't like the fact that young people are more informed and to cut through the BS on the propaganda that tends to favor Israel regardless of what.
We have all seen memes and protest signs like Gays for Palestine that show a lack of profound knowledge. Peer pressure typically drives their interest on college campuses rather than independent study or critical analysis. Students who participate in demonstrations carry signs and yell slogans without having a thorough comprehension of the complicated matter, because backing Palestine has become a widespread identification marker. The fact that many college students still do not have a firm understanding of the causes they passionately support is perhaps partially accurate. The fact that some young people are starting to recognize the lies being taught to them is heartening. This is when the discussion becomes interesting. The only reason we might be able to agree on this issue right now is because of the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Most of these activists, however, are not free thinkers. Rather, they are greatly impacted by tendencies and a collective mindset that are driven more by a desire to blend in than by any moral beliefs. This could lead to them being on the other side of the argument from Kasparians like you and me. Let's face it, a lot of young activists lack the maturity to address more fundamental structural problems like dissent prosecution or media bias. When they criticize Israel's public relations strategies or policies, I might agree with them. Additionally, Anna Kasparian.
He's complaining two totally different issues. You might be surprised to hear that I kind of agree with him on one of the issues.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but definitely not both. So what do I mean?
You're getting up there in age. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So he says young people know nothing. They need a diploma for, just going up. Wait. Part about the diploma is unfortunately a little bit true.
It is, yeah. I agree.
And so that's the part I agree with, and that's not because young people suck. It's because we devastated funding for public schools.
No, I disagree. I think what he's referring to colleges, right?
I thought he was referring to high schools, but even if he's already referring to colleges, that's a little bit more of a mixed bag. I mean, it's not like people go to these elite colleges, know nothing, but are they, on average, way more left wing? Yes, that's true. And that's a third issue.
That's a separate problem. My main issue is that many college graduates are not only unprepared for the real world, but the school itself fails them. Some of my college-educated friends lack basic practical abilities, but they have degrees and grasp complex mathematical ideas that they will never use. I never went to college because aside from the usual liberal attitudes, I believe it's a waste of time unless you're pursuing a specific career like STEM medicine or law. I think school is a massive waste of time and money unless there is a clear, realistic professional route that demands a degree. This is due to the fact that universities nowadays appear to be more ideological echo chambers promoting woke narratives than they are to teaching true critical thinking. Many college grads quickly realize how much more they still need to learn when they enter the workforce, despite their delusion of intellectual supremacy.